Have you ever caught a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, and paused for a second? Not because you looked bad, but because the reflection staring back didn't quite match how you feel inside. You feel full of life. You still laugh, you still love, you still dream, but somehow, the woman in the mirror looks a little more tired, a little older, than the fire that still burns inside you. And you wonder, when did that happen? You're not alone. After 50, so many amazing, strong, beautiful women feel this way. Because while we grow wiser, kinder, and more confident with age, our appearance sometimes forgets to keep up. But here's the thing. You don't need surgery. You don't need to change who you are. Sometimes, all it takes is a haircut. Yes, a haircut. Sounds simple, right? But the right cut? The one that flatters your face, lifts your features, adds softness and glow? That one haircut can take years off your look, and add years to how you feel. And today, we're diving into 6 stylish, age-defying haircuts that don't just sit on your head, they tell your story. They whisper, she's confident. She's radiant. She's still got it. So if you've ever stood in front of the mirror wondering how to feel more you again, this video is for you. And trust me, number 6? It's a total game changer. Most women don't even consider it, but once they try it, they never go back. So stay with me. Let's explore the cuts that celebrate who you are now, not who the world thinks you should be. And hey, before we dive in, drop a quick comment below and type "fresh look" if you're ready to try something new, feel like yourself again, and glow from the inside out. And don't forget to subscribe to Elder Mature Moments, where we embrace age with elegance, laughter, and a whole lot of heart. Let's begin. Let's start with a timeless classic that has quietly transformed so many women over 50, without them even realizing just how powerful it is. The soft layered bob. I want you to imagine someone like Linda. She's 61. A retired schoolteacher with a heart of gold, always the first to show up at community events, still volunteering at the local food bank every Wednesday. For years, Linda wore her hair the same way, long, pulled back in a low ponytail. It was easy, comfortable, familiar. But deep down, she felt like it aged her. She once told her hairdresser, "I just don't feel like me anymore when I look in the mirror." So, she decided to take a chance. Nothing drastic, just a soft layered bob. Subtle layers. Gentle volume. Ends resting just below her chin. And you know what happened? She walked into church that Sunday, and it was like people were seeing her for the first time in years. One friend said, "Linda, have you been on vacation? You look refreshed." Another said, "You look lighter. Like you've got a little sparkle back." And Linda? She felt it. It wasn't about looking young. It was about looking alive. You see, as we age, our hair naturally becomes finer. It loses volume and fullness, especially around the crown and sides. That's just part of the journey. Hormones shift. Texture changes. And suddenly, the styles that once flattered us, don't quite do the trick anymore. But here's the beauty of a soft layered bob, it works with those changes, not against them. By adding layers, you create lift. Movement. It draws the eye up, toward your cheekbones and eyes, 2 features that still hold so much of your natural beauty. And when cut just right, the bob hugs your face in the most flattering way. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Short hair makes me look older. That's a common worry. But here's the truth, short hair doesn't make you look older. The wrong cut does. When done well, a layered bob doesn't strip away your femininity, it enhances it. It softens your jawline, gives shape to your face, and brings back that effortless elegance that says, "Yes, I'm over 50, and I'm radiant." And the best part? It's versatile. You can style it sleek and polished for a night out, or tousled and carefree for everyday errands. It doesn't fight your age, it frees you to express it beautifully. So, if this speaks to you, and you're considering making the change, here's a simple tip: ask your stylist for gentle layers that graze just below the chin. Opt for a side part, it creates a bit of asymmetry, which adds youthfulness and dimension. And if you've got a few highlights or grays, even better. The bob makes them shimmer. Linda's story isn't rare. It's a quiet transformation happening every day in salons around the world. Women rediscovering themselves through something as simple and powerful as a haircut. But maybe you're looking for something with a little more edge, something that brings a bit of youthful rebellion and effortless cool into your style. Well, the next cut might just be the one you've been waiting for. Let's talk about it. Now, maybe you're someone who still carries a little spark of rebellion in your spirit. You've never been the type to play it too safe. You like your style to say, "I've lived, I've laughed, and I've still got plenty more to do." If that sounds like you, then the shoulder-length shag might just be your signature cut. Let me tell you about Claire. Claire is 57, works part-time as a florist, and spends her weekends dancing at community salsa nights. She's got this vibrant energy, always smiling, always on the move, but her hairstyle hadn't caught up. It was long, flat, and honestly, just a bit tired. One day, her stylist suggested a change. Nothing too dramatic. Just a shoulder-length shag with soft layers and a bit of texture. And the result? Claire couldn't stop smiling. It was like the haircut finally matched her personality: light, fun, free. People asked if she'd lost weight, if she'd been on vacation. But nope, it was just the magic of the right cut. Here's what makes the shag so special: movement. As we age, our hair naturally gets a little thinner. It starts to fall flat. We lose that bounce we once had. And that's where the shag works its magic. By adding staggered layers, some shorter, some longer, you give your hair the illusion of volume. It brings your hair back to life. You get that soft, airy feel that moves when you walk, when you laugh, when you turn your head. And movement? That's something we subconsciously associate with youth. Now, I know the word shag might make you think of the 1970s. Farrah Fawcett. Feathered bangs. Big blowouts. But today's shag? It's modern. It's soft. It's elegant. No big hair. No over-the-top styling. Just a relaxed, natural shape that flatters your face and says, "I've still got it." And don't let anyone tell you it's not age-appropriate. The shag is for any woman who wants to add playfulness and texture without going too short. It frames your face, softens your neckline, and can even take attention away from fine lines or sagging. Want to make it even better? Pair it with curtain bangs. They gently sweep to the side, drawing the eye inward and giving your face a youthful lift. Or try soft waves, whether with a curling wand or just a bit of sea salt spray. Waves bring an effortless charm that says, "I woke up like this." It's also low maintenance. You don't need to spend hours styling it. You don't even have to wash it every day. It looks better lived in. And at this stage in life, who doesn't love a hairstyle that looks better the less you fuss with it? The shoulder-length shag isn't about hiding age, it's about embracing your edge. Letting your natural texture shine. It's bold, yes, but in a graceful, grown-up way. So if you've been feeling like your hair has gone a bit flat, if you want to add life without losing length, Claire's cut might just be your next big move. But maybe you're not quite ready for layers and texture. Maybe you want something elegant, timeless, with just a hint of sophistication and ease. If so, the next style might be exactly what you've been looking for. Let's talk about a cut that's as classic as it is empowering. Now, let's talk about something bold. Something that says confidence, without a single word. A style that strips away the unnecessary, and leaves nothing but strength, grace, and personality. I'm talking about the Classic Pixie Cut. Let me introduce you to Judith. She's 68. A yoga instructor. Lives by the ocean. Spends her mornings meditating, and her evenings cooking for her grandkids. Judith is the kind of woman who walks into a room, and you feel her energy before she even speaks. But for years, she kept her hair long, because she believed she had to. She thought cutting it short would somehow take away her femininity. That it might make her invisible. That people would stop seeing her as beautiful. But one day, she sat in her stylist's chair, took a deep breath, and said, "Let's do it." She cut it all off. Into a soft, textured pixie. And she never looked back. She told me it was the most liberating thing she's ever done. It wasn't just a haircut, it was a release. Of old expectations. Old routines. Old fears. And what did she gain in return? Compliments. Confidence. And this beautiful glow that made her look 10 years younger, not because of the cut itself, but because of how she carried herself afterward. The pixie cut has a kind of magic. It lifts the eyes. It defines the jaw. It brings focus to your expression, your smile, your eyes, your spirit. And that's so important, especially as we grow older. Because those are the features that tend to soften with age. Gravity pulls at the face, skin loses elasticity, but the right pixie cut gently pushes everything back up. It draws attention to what makes you you. Now, I know. Pixies get a bad rap. Some people still think they're too edgy, or worse, masculine. But let me tell you, when done right, a pixie is one of the most feminine, graceful cuts out there. It's not about the length. It's about the shape. It's the softness around the ears. The gentle taper at the neck. The way the fringe sweeps across the forehead and opens up your face. And there's a kind of vulnerability in a pixie that's powerful. You're not hiding behind layers or curls. You're letting your features take center stage. And that takes courage. But it also radiates confidence. So, if you're thinking of taking the leap, here's what to keep in mind: ask your stylist for softness. Stay away from overly sharp lines unless you're going for a bold, fashion-forward look. A bit of texture on top can add movement. A longer fringe can keep things balanced if you're nervous about going too short. And let's not forget, maintenance is a breeze. A little styling product, a quick tousle, and you're ready to go. No blow drying for 30 minutes. No fussing with rollers or heavy styling tools. It's the definition of effortless beauty. Judith always says, "My pixie didn't make me someone new. It just brought me back to myself." And I think that's something worth holding on to. But hey, not every woman wants to go short. And maybe you're someone who still treasures the feeling of hair brushing your shoulders, the ease of pulling it back into a clip, or simply the comfort of a bit more length. If that's you, don't worry. There's a style that keeps the length you love, while giving you a whole new, fresher feel. Let's take a look at it next. Now let's slow things down a bit. Because not everyone is ready to go short, and that's perfectly okay. Some of us find comfort in the familiar feeling of long hair. The way it moves. The way it frames our shoulders. The way it makes us feel just a little more like ourselves. If that's you, then this next haircut might be exactly what your heart has been waiting for: long layers with side bangs. Let me tell you about Patricia. She had just turned 55, and she was sitting in her stylist's chair with this look on her face. You know the one. Where you know you need a change, but you're afraid to let go of too much. She said, "I've worn my hair long since I was 20. It's part of me. But lately, I feel like it's dragging me down." Her stylist smiled and said, "We don't have to take it away. We just have to give it life again." So they kept the length. But added some gentle, flowing layers. And then came the side bangs, not too heavy, just enough to sweep across the forehead and soften her expression. When Patricia looked in the mirror, something changed. She didn't just see herself, she recognized herself again. The warmth in her eyes, the ease in her smile. She didn't look like she was trying to look younger, she just looked refreshed. And that's the beauty of this cut. You see, long hair isn't the problem. It's how the hair is shaped and styled that makes all the difference. As we age, our facial structure changes. Cheeks become a little less full, the jawline softens, and fine lines begin to appear around the eyes and forehead. But that doesn't mean we have to say goodbye to the length we love. Side bangs are a quiet little miracle. They can gently cover forehead lines without being obvious. They draw the eye inward, toward your eyes, which, by the way, remain one of the most expressive and youthful parts of your face no matter your age. And the long layers? They take the weight out of your hair, adding movement and shape without losing that beautiful length. It's like giving your hair a breath of fresh air. Suddenly, it moves again. It flows. It frames your face instead of dragging it down. Now, I know what some people say, long hair after 50? Isn't that too much? Too much for who? There's this outdated idea that long hair is only for the young. But with the right framing, long hair can actually enhance your natural features, not hide them. The secret is in the details. Keep the ends healthy. A regular trim every 6 to 8 weeks makes a world of difference. Ask your stylist to add volume at the crown, especially if your hair is starting to thin. And whatever you do, avoid heavy blunt lines. They can make the face look harsh and pull everything downward. Instead, go for soft, blended layers that flow naturally. Bangs that sweep instead of sit. Hair that moves with you, not against you. Patricia told me later that the best part about her new look wasn't the compliments she got, though there were many. It was the way she felt when she left the house. A little more confident. A little more visible. A little more her. This cut is perfect for the woman who wants to keep her length, but still bring in something fresh, something that says, I've evolved, but I haven't let go of myself. But now, let's switch gears. Because the next haircut? It's one you don't hear about often. It's a little unexpected. But for the right woman, it's a revelation. Let's take a look. Now here's a style you don't hear about every day, but when you see it on the right woman, you can't look away. It's polished. It's modern. It's got just the right amount of edge without ever trying too hard. I'm talking about the modern French crop. Let me tell you about Francesca. She's 64. A world traveler. A lover of art, jazz, and good espresso. She's spent her life collecting moments, not things, and that shows in everything she does. But her hair? That was another story. Between long flights, humid cities, and the simplicity of aging, her once thick hair had grown limp, lifeless, and, her words, a bit too serious. She wanted something simple. But elegant. Something that didn't scream for attention, but gently whispered style and intention. That's when she discovered the French crop. Now, if you're not familiar, this cut sits short around the sides and back, with just a little more length on top. It frames the face without overwhelming it. And for Francesca, it changed everything. She stepped out of that salon with a cut that made her eyes sparkle. It drew attention to her cheekbones, her smile, the way her eyes lit up when she talked about her next adventure. Suddenly, her hair wasn't a burden. It was an accessory, a finishing touch to her already magnetic personality. Here's why the French crop works so beautifully for women over 50, it's structured. And structure is key. As we age, our face naturally softens, especially around the jawline and eyes. But this cut adds a subtle lift. It frames the top of the face, draws attention upward, and emphasizes facial features that might otherwise fade into the background. And the best part? It's chic without effort. There's a reason the French are known for timeless beauty. Their styles are clean, minimal, intentional. And this haircut follows that same philosophy. But let's talk about the misconceptions, because I know they're out there. Some people think short crops are too bold or even too masculine for older women. But let me ask you, what's bolder than a woman who knows exactly who she is? The French crop doesn't take away your femininity. It highlights it. It's not about the length. It's about the confidence it carries. And with soft styling, it becomes incredibly graceful. A bit of texture. A few layers. It doesn't have to be sharp or severe. It can be gentle, romantic, even playful. Francesca often wears hers slightly tousled. Not messy, just relaxed. A light styling cream and she's done. No curling irons, no rollers, no standing in front of the mirror for 45 minutes. It's a wash, tousle, and go kind of look. Perfect for the woman who's got places to be and stories to tell. Want to take it a step further? Add highlights. Not chunky streaks, just a few soft touches of light, placed where they'll catch the sun and brighten the face. Around the temples, the fringe, the crown. It adds dimension, and that makes fine hair look fuller and more youthful. This cut is for the woman who isn't afraid to evolve. Who understands that simplicity can be powerful. Who's done trying to prove anything to anyone, and now just wants to feel good in her own skin. The modern French crop is more than a haircut. It's a quiet declaration. A way of saying, I'm still here. I'm still growing. And I'm doing it with style. But we're not done yet. Because the next haircut. It's one most women over 50 don't even think about. But for those who do embrace it, it's often the most flattering, most freeing, and most transformative of all. Let's talk about it next. Now, let's talk about something real. Something raw. Something that, for many women, has been a lifelong battle, and for others, a quiet gift they never fully knew how to embrace. I'm talking about natural curls, and the power of the curly volume cut. Let me introduce you to Angela. She's 59. A retired nurse, full of warmth, the kind of woman who always makes sure everyone else is okay before thinking about herself. For most of her life, she straightened her hair. Hot combs in her teens. Blowouts in her 30s. Flat irons in her 40s. And by the time she turned 50, it became more about maintenance than preference. Straightening became routine, automatic. Almost expected. Until one day, her stylist looked her in the eye and said, "Angela, your curls are beautiful. Why are you hiding them?" She hesitated. "Because I thought they made me look unpolished. Too wild. Too much." Her stylist smiled and replied, "Or maybe they just make you look like you." So, for the first time in decades, Angela stopped fighting her curls. She embraced them. They gave her a volume she hadn't seen in years. Not just in her hair, but in her presence. Her curls framed her face like a halo, soft, full, alive. And when she walked into a room, people didn't see an older woman. They saw Angela, fully, beautifully herself. You see, as we age, our hair tends to thin. It lies flatter. It loses that natural bounce. But curls? Curls bring it all back. They add dimension, they add shape, and most importantly, they add life. They give the illusion of fullness, even if the strands themselves are finer than they used to be. But here's the secret, the cut makes all the difference. Because not all curly haircuts are created equal. Cut it wrong, and you get that dreaded triangle shape, flat at the top, wide at the bottom. Cut it right, and you get shape, volume, balance. Hair that frames the face and moves with intention. So how do you do it? You find a stylist who understands curls. Someone who sees texture, not just length. Who cuts dry, not wet, because curls shrink. And every inch matters. Ask for layers, but strategically placed ones. The goal isn't to thin it out, but to give it structure. A bit of lift at the crown, softness around the temples, and a gradual taper down the sides. And don't shy away from products that nourish your curls instead of controlling them. Leave-in conditioners, curl creams, and light gels can define without stiffening. You want your curls to move, to bounce, to say, "I'm here, and I'm not apologizing for it." Now, let's clear up a big misconception. A lot of women, especially over 50, still believe that curls are messy. That they need to be tamed, controlled, hidden. But the truth is, with the right cut, curls look intentional. They become your statement piece, bold, elegant, and deeply expressive. Curls tell a story. Not of rebellion, but of authenticity. Not of chaos, but of freedom. Angela told me once, "I spent so many years straightening my hair because I thought that's what beauty looked like. Now I know, beauty looks like me, exactly as I am." That's what this cut offers. Not just a change in hairstyle, but a return to your natural self. No more hiding. No more apologizing. Just confidence, texture, and joy. And here's the best part, this isn't just for women who've had curls their whole life. Even if your curls have loosened over time, even if they're more waves now than spirals, the curly volume cut can still work wonders. It brings softness back to the face. It makes hair feel alive again. It says, "I'm not done. I'm still growing, and I'm doing it beautifully." So whether you've worn your hair straight for decades, or you've always loved your curls but never quite knew how to style them, this might be the moment you come home to yourself. Now that you've seen these 6 stunning, empowering, and deeply personal haircuts, let's take a moment to talk about something deeper. Because this journey, it's not just about how we look. It's about how we feel. And that's where we're headed next. Let's pause for a moment. Because I know, for many of us, this isn't just about hair. It's about something deeper. It's about how we see ourselves. And maybe, how we've let the world see us for far too long. Choosing to make a change, even something as seemingly simple as a haircut, can feel vulnerable. Because it's not just about layers or bangs or volume. It's about identity. It's about confidence. It's about looking in the mirror and finally saying, "There you are." And if you've been carrying the quiet fear that aging means disappearing, that you're somehow less visible, less valuable, or less beautiful, let this be your gentle reminder, aging doesn't mean fading. It means becoming more of who you truly are. Every line on your face tells a story. Every silver strand is a mark of wisdom earned. But that doesn't mean you can't embrace change. That you can't still evolve, express, and enjoy feeling beautiful. These haircuts? They're not trends. They're declarations of self-love. Of choosing to feel radiant again. Of refusing to let society define what beauty looks like after 50. So here's my encouragement to you, book that appointment. Try something new. Even if it's a small step, take it. Let the woman inside finally show up on the outside. Let your reflection tell the truth about how alive you still are. Because you, my friend, are not past your prime. You are in your power. And the world? It deserves to see that shine. Your shine. You're not finished growing. You're just getting started. And the next chapter? It begins with you choosing to show up fully, as beautifully, boldly, and brilliantly as ever. Let's take a moment to look back on everything we've uncovered together. We explored 6 stunning, age-defying haircuts, each with its own unique magic. We began with the soft layered bob, elegant, full of movement, and perfect for adding volume while softening your features. Then we stepped into the shoulder-length shag, a cut that brings out that playful spark with texture, shape, and effortless charm. We embraced bold beauty with the Classic Pixie, a powerful choice that frames the eyes, defines the jaw, and radiates confidence with every glance. Then came long layers with side bangs, the perfect choice for women who love their length but want a fresh, face-framing update that feels light and youthful. We moved into quiet sophistication with the modern French crop, minimal, structured, and polished, perfect for the woman who loves simplicity with style. And finally, we celebrated the fullness of authenticity with the curly volume cut, a beautiful reminder that embracing your natural texture isn't just freeing, it's transformative. Each of these haircuts was designed not just to flatter your face, but to reflect the beauty that's already inside you, the resilience, the grace, the wisdom, the joy. So now, I want to hear from you. Which haircut spoke to your soul? Are you leaning towards something soft and layered? Feeling drawn to a bold pixie? Or maybe, like Angela, you're ready to finally embrace your curls. Or maybe, you already have a signature look that makes you feel fabulous every single day. Whatever it is, I'd love for you to share it in the comments. Let's turn that section into a celebration of transformation, of beauty, of you. And if this video made you smile, if it made you feel seen, even just a little, then I invite you to stay connected with us. At Elder Mature Moments, we're building a warm, thoughtful community of women who are aging gracefully, boldly, and beautifully, inside and out. So go ahead, click that subscribe button. You'll find more stories, tips, and inspiration waiting for you here. Because aging isn't something to fear, it's something to own. Thank you for spending this time with me. You've made space today not just to learn about haircuts, but to reconnect with the radiant, powerful woman you already are. And as you move through the rest of your day, remember this: beauty doesn't have an age limit. It doesn't fade, it evolves. It deepens. It glows. So stay confident. Stay radiant. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself, and keep shining.